You're planning out your wedding ceremony and trying to figure out what order everyone should walk down the aisle during the processional. So, what's the right answer? First things first, what is a processional during your wedding ceremony? Brides.com says the wedding processional refers to the group of people walking down the aisle in a specific order to mark the beginning of a wedding ceremony. The processional often includes a permutation of the officiant, the wedding party, flower girls, ring bearers, and the bride and groom and their parents. That's a mouthful, but basically the processional of your wedding ceremony is when everyone walks down the aisle before you're married. So to address the question at hand, what is the right order for everyone to walk down the aisle for your wedding? There's really no right or wrong answer, but the traditional order goes a little something like this. The officiant, then grandparents, then parents, then the mother of the bride, then the groom, then the wedding party, then the ring bearer, the flower girl, and then finally the bride or the other groom. That's the traditional way to run a processional, but you're going to hear me say this a lot on this channel, that traditions are just ideas made up by dead people, and they're all dead now, so do whatever you want. I know that sounds like I'm being silly, but I'm being serious. When it comes to your wedding processional, you can have people walk down the aisle in pretty much any order you want. Normally, the bride or your partner is the last person to walk down the aisle, but other than that, it's kind of free range to do whatever you think is best and what fits for you and the style of your wedding and the vibe you're going for. So let's say you're having a wedding where there is no bridal party. There are no bridesmaids, no maid of honor, no groomsmen, no best man. That's okay. Just eliminate those and go on. And a million questions come up like, is it okay to have 2 bridesmaids walk down the aisle with 1 groomsman if there's not enough groomsmen? Of course, it's totally okay. What if there's a same-sex couple? Should you keep them together or put one person with a bridesmaid and one person with another bridesmaid or a groomsman? It doesn't matter. Do whatever you want. No one's going to notice. And that really is the answer. No one's going to be paying attention to that stuff. No one's going to be sitting there during your ceremony and saying, oh my God, I cannot believe Linda had 2 bridesmaids walk down the aisle at the same time. We're leaving. And honestly, if one of your guests thinks that, or even worse, says that, they shouldn't have been invited to your wedding in the first place. When it comes to the processional during your wedding ceremony, it's really just about highlighting those people that are most important to you, that you want to be close and intimate with you during that moment of your wedding. And to give you an example, my wife and I got married last Halloween, and she was the only person to walk down the aisle. It was a very intimate affair. Only about 8 or 10 people there. I was waiting at the altar. My wife came down, looked amazing, and then we were married. And no one ever said, well, wait a minute, where was the bridal party? Why didn't more people walk down the aisle? Why didn't your parents? Because honestly, nobody cares. It's your wedding, and as long as you're happy and putting out the vibe that you want to for your big day, it's not going to matter. So let's say you have a mixed family and you're trying to figure out, does my real biological father walk me down the aisle? Or does my stepdad who raised me, who I consider my father, walk me down the aisle? Either one or both. I've done weddings where you've had a father on each arm of the bride or a mother on each arm of the groom, or let's say the groom, his parents are lesbians. They both walk him down the aisle. It's really no big deal. It's, again, just about including those important people on your big day for your processional. And don't get stuck on ring bearers and flower girls. Maybe you don't have a niece or a young lady who's old enough to fill that role. You can have one of your bridesmaids do it. And I saw a great video recently where at a wedding, instead of having a ring bearer, the groom decided to have one of his best friends be the beer boy. And he was walking down the aisle, handing out beers during the wedding ceremony, during the processional. And I know it sounds a little crazy, but it was a lot of fun and really silly, and it lightened the mood. And it was just really great. And again, that's the whole point of your processional, just to have some fun, celebrate this union and the important people on your special day. So you could have 2 people walk down the aisle or 50, which I'd probably advise against 50 because that's a long ceremony. It can get a little bit boring, but it's really a free-for-all. Do whatever you think is best, what feels best to you, and just make sure you feature those people that you want to be there close to you at the altar when you're being announced as husband and wife or husband and husband. So really the whole point is it's your wedding, it's your special day. So between you and your partner, you can decide whomever you want or don't want to walk down the aisle during your ceremony and during your processional to watch you get married. There's going to be a million things going on your wedding, and I don't want you spending all this time getting brain fried about those little details about the processional, because you can do whatever you want. On next week's episode, we're going to talk about music selections for your wedding ceremony processional, like how many songs do you pick? Who gets their own song? Does the bride get a song? Does the groom get a song? We're going to answer all that stuff for you next week, because planning a wedding can be a lot, but you shouldn't get stuck on those little details. Just cut the fucking cake.